Good evening YouTube, my name is Yusuf and you are watching my news channel. This is another episode of Space Weather News and today we are 30 May of 2021. So yesterday we had a C9 flare, as you can see over here, and it was a long duration flare. This flare caused two things. First of all, a very big CME and a solar tsunami or shockwave on the surface of the sun. If we look, oh yes, and by the way, we did have a solar storm, a level 1. In itself, it doesn't mean much because as you can see, if we look actually at the effect of an S1, oh, this is geomagnetic storm, let me just, yes, S1. First of all, the only thing special about this is that it is very rare. We only get like 50 per cycle when we look at the level 1. And this is very few because one cycle covers the span of 11 years or spans 11 years. So when we look at the effects, biological none, satellite operations none, but minor impacts on high frequency radio communications. To compare it actually with a geomagnetic storm, first of all, a geomagnetic storm has a lot more effect and we get like 1700 per cycle or 1700 each 11 years. So a solar storm is very rare and its effects are negligible, but nonetheless we did have one. When we look at the CME tracker, we actually almost missed the CME because it starts when it is gone. And if I start this, you can clearly see this. So you will see that when we reach actually midnight, the 29, the CME actually already pops off. But we can see it, for example, I started a video on the core 9, core 2, yes, stereo ahead. Come on, reload, do this, yes, there it is. As you can see in slow motion, it's actually a big CME, lots of ejecta, lots of plasma, and it covers a wide area. So let's take a look actually at the C3 coronagraph from SOHO, and this is again the exact same CME, but let me just stop this a little bit, go back, because here it is better visible. So here is the CME, and look at the size of this thing. Let me just go a little bit from here to here, and then it just keeps expanding and expanding. When we look, so as I mentioned, it did create a solar tsunami or a shockwave, and we will see this in a moment. There it is. So you can clearly see over this entire area a shockwave on the sun. Looking at the CME trackers, and I put both actually from Enlil, from the Space Weather Prediction Center, and from NASA itself, because when we look, let's just go first to the CME tracker of the NASA ISRA simulation. We see that it actually shows a glancing glow clearly. If you look over here, you will see it envelops stereo behind, and then it clearly grazes Earth, and this is also visible over here in the spiral itself. See? It actually grazes our planet. But if we look at the Enlil spiral, we see only one rise in density, and actually it doesn't come from the CME. So the CME is over here, it expands, and as you can see, when we enter this dense area of protons, it is actually from the spiral itself and not the CME. So it is basically just a solar wind which is denser in that region, but here we can barely see an impact, and in fact it doesn't show up on the Space Weather Prediction Center as an impact, or maybe just this little blip over here. But if we look at the density chart, I don't actually see a rise, a second rise aside from this one. So basically the Space Weather Prediction Center, and I'm not even sure if they actually predict a geomagnetic storm for June the 3rd. Well, there is no input yet, but I honestly doubt they will predicted geomagnetic storm, since they show that it's actually not going to impact, or barely. But I think this could be geo-affected because we go through this and then we get grazed by the tsunami. Let's just see. It happens on the 3rd of June, so it's still too early to confirm anything. When we look at the magnetosphere, and I will show actually these two simulations, there was yet again, let me just play the movie. Let's start over at the beginning, of course. So we passed through a sector boundary crossing, and there was our magnetosphere got energized. So you will see a lot of activity. But the thing that, of course, got my attention again is something else. It's yet again data that goes missing, and the transition between energy levels, especially in the inner electron belt. And if I pause this a little bit, because it's going to happen at 6 UTC and 9 minutes there. First of all, there is already an anomaly, but this is not really the important part. The important part is this. The energy in this part of the closed field lines that simply disappear or change of state, become more intense in the next frame. And this, yes, so this is actually the frame that I want to show. Now some people say this might be a glitch. I do not agree. Because a glitch would be, for example, to see something like that happen and then normalize in the second frames, because then it would get corrected. And another thing that you will not have is mysterious disappearance. I mean, come on, this happens and then the next frame, like 20 minutes disappear, and this would be happening by chance every time, every day. Sorry, I don't buy it. Again, let's take a look over here. That's the same thing. So we have this energy state, and look, it doesn't appear all of a sudden. So definitely not a glitch, because it's there. This data is over there. We see this energy state, and then all of a sudden an increase in one frame and 20 minutes that go missing. So basically between this and this, something happens. We are not allowed to see it. Plain and simple. And I'm not criticizing NASA or anything. I'm just saying what I see. If there was a glitch, they would put a message, or I don't know, correct it over time. But when it happens each day, obviously something is wrong. If you look actually at the, yes, this is again the magnetosphere, which actually got energized. Let me just take, oh yes, I have to load, whoops. I have to load 200, oh yes, 300, and we could send frames. Yeah, sorry for this, but I forgot to load a few images and didn't go as far as I wanted, because as I mentioned, we went to a sector boundary crossing, and that's basically a fold in the helio sheet, and consequently we have solar wind, which is unstable at different densities and speeds. And I do believe that our magnetosphere got energized in the process. Well, let me just go to yes, it definitely did get energized. Oh yeah, I'm seeing what happened. This is basically my little error. I have to restart this, go to that. It didn't really start when I wanted it, so okay, let's hope this time is the good one. By the way, if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn the notifications on if you don't want to miss any future content. And you can also click the like button if you actually enjoy my videos. So that aside, as you can see, we went through a region with different densities in solar wind. This is the peak. This is because we went through a fold in the helio sheet, and all of a sudden our magnetosphere got very energized. So there was a dense part of solar wind crossing through, and I thought this to be interesting to actually see it over here. And this is the anomaly as usual. 6 UTC, 6 UTC 9 minutes, and then the data disappears and you have this. But it stays a little bit like this, and the data doesn't disappear, and we have this transition. So basically this cannot be a glitch. This is simply 20 minutes that's missing. That's all there is to it. You can't explain this in another way. And I can already tell when this is going to happen. When you see this, when you see energy connecting to the bow shock, I can tell you in advance that you will have time that goes missing. And then you will have this state over here, like a second bow shock, and all the energy disappears in the inner region. So there you have it. Oh yes, and by the way, this one over here, I don't know if they updated it, but yes, they did. They did. Unfortunately, those 20 minutes are also missing over here. I thought maybe I could find something, a clue over here, but as you can see, it's missing everywhere. So definitely not a glitch. Okay, this is it, people. End of the video. I will cite a philosophical quote, and then I will end the video. So, I believe it's number, yes, 49. And this is actually interesting. He travels safe and not unpleasantly, who is guarded by poverty and guided by love. So, this is true. If you have nothing they could steal from you, if you have people that actually care for you, you will be protected. Unlike if you were, for example, a greedy person with lots of money, you would always be on your guard and travel with a guilty conscience. This is it, people. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching in any case, and I guess we see each other next time. Bye bye.